New patch today, which includes a balance update to 3 cards, Galactus, Dazzler, and Maria Hill. They acknowledge right here that they are not making any changes to High Evolutionary at this time because these balance patch updates were done well in advance of the release of High Evolutionary. They've stated publicly that High Evolutionary is looking to be a problematic card slash deck and that they will be making adjustments in the future. And they say that once again here, we know this patch is coming a couple weeks after High Evolutionary's release, but bear in mind we implemented these changes well in advance of his release. So we'll be using OTAs and our next patch to address changes that may be related to that card's impact on the metagame. And my prediction is they're going to do something with Hulk. Galactus! This is going to change everything. He's now going to be a 6/7 on reveal. If you're winning this location and this is your only card here, destroy all other locations. I think the most annoying line for Galactus, without a doubt, is Wave on turn 3, Galactus turn 4, and then Spider-Man on turn 5. Well, if you have opponent and your opponent plays Wave and you know they're going to be playing Galactus in the far right lane, all you got to do is play more than 7 power in that location and you win the match. They do mention that this is going to make a turn 6 Galactus more viable, but I know that Galactus players typically are trying to throw priority and do not want to have priority on turn 6 because that makes them susceptible to Enchantress or Rogue or Shang-Chi against their null. Galactus is a card we kept a close eye on since our release. His ability warps the game. No kidding, it changes the entire game, changing the goal for both players from claiming 2 locations to waging war around cards that counter him, his finishers, and priority. We don't mind mixing things up a bit from time to time in that regard, but Galactus play rate was moving past the thresholds we set, determine both competitive diversity and how frequently the game gets reduced to that state. And I've noticed that Galactus has been showing up in tournaments. And I do want to say that also, I noticed that there was a lot more Galactus play pre-Infinite, but the when I get to Infinite seemed to be calmed down a lot. So everybody might have a different experience with how much Galactus was being played. I mean, this is an actual thing for because Galactus is inherently counterable. We waited to see if the metagame could sort itself out, but it hasn't. Galactus' popularity has increased, his win rate has only grown, and many players don't even enjoy beating him. These are problems worth solving. The original design for Galactus is difficult to rebalance because he is essentially one value we can adjust, power. However, lower power can mean that Galactus always loses priority, so making post-Galactus counters like Shang-Chi or Enchantress difficult to play. Meanwhile, increases let you beat these cards more naturally, especially Professor X. Either way, it's still all about the counters. We consider making the first true 7-cost card. Well, that might have been weird, I don't know. But that was just less fun and weaker with the same issues. They also considered full redesigns for Galactus, but didn't find anything that cleared our bar, which is very high. Ultimately, we decided to make power a functional way for us to tune Galactus, which led us to this additional winning restriction. Caring about winning this way lets players context Galactus within the core fun of Snap using power challenge for locations. Rely exclusively on counters is frustrating because neither player has much control over their appearance, but every deck should have the ability to muster 7 power. There you go. So this means that almost any deck should be able to beat this in some ways. We expect he'll be stronger in decks that play him on turn 6 after Hobgoblin or Nimrod, but worse in the stronger, more populous Galactus archetype. So they're talking about ramp right there, you know, something that uses Electro or Wave to play Galactus, you know, on turns 4 or 5. If this change proves to be too much or too little, it's also given us the ability to tune him further via OTA to find the healthiest spot. So he does get a boost to 7 power, which is going to change this a lot. On reveal, if you're winning this location and this is your only card here, destroy all other locations. I imagine having priority on turn 4 is going to be a big deal. I could see wave on turn 3, and then if the Galactus player has priority, then they can play Galactus relatively easily in a non-contested location, where if they do not have priority, then your opponent could play something as simple as anything, any card that has more than 7 power. And if you're winning this location, I want to see how this plays out. I'm curious. I do think this is interesting. Now, the other 2 balance updates, I largely agree that are positive, and I think the game should focus on making more changes like the following 2, because I think the game needs more buffs than counters. Maria Hill, new 2/3 on reveal, add a random 1 or 2 cost card to your hand. So basically it was a 1 cost before. Now you can get a 1 or 2 cost card. She primarily was used in Devil Dino decks. We're giving Maria Hill the ability to roll out a 2 cost card, primarily to make her a better thematic parallel to Agent Coulson. We expect this to be a slight buff, as you occasionally get a better card from her. And half the time your Quinjet will prove to discount in most of the scenarios too. Not a huge mover, but a more enjoyable card. So Quinjet basically made Maria Hill not that useful after the Quinjet changes, where it could no longer reduce the cost of the cards below 1. So Maria Hill drawing a 1-drop didn't help Quinjet decks at all. But now this change, like it says, about half the time the Quinjet will drop the cost of the 2-drop that she randomly pulls down to 1. Dazzler, and I do like the changes on this. Hopefully we get to play her inside of a Silver Surfer deck. New 3-2, so she's now going to be a 3-drop, which is going to synergize with Silver Surfer. Ongoing, +2 power for each location that's full on your side. So if 1 location is full, she'll be a 3-4. If 2 locations are full, she'll be a 3-6. And if all 3 locations are full, like let's say in an Ultron, then she will be a 3-8. Dazzler's old ability didn't give enough of a boost to reflect the level of investment that filling your board demands, but never really found a home competing against many of our strongest 4-cost cards. We decided to give her more incremental boosts as you fill locations, which also lets her benefit from Space Throne, and shifted her rate to a 3-cost. In addition to changing up the competition, she may have a home alongside Brood with Silver Surfer and Patriot with Ultron or other shells. So I'm very excited that they're boosting Maria and Dazzler. I think the game needs more buffs than nerfs. And I know that Galactus is a polarizing card, and some people are going to be very unhappy with these changes. I myself want to see how it plays out. I think the changes to Galactus will definitely change the landscape of what it means to be a Galactus player. Conquest is here. This is highly anticipated. This is going to be an excellent way of getting new rewards. The first place that you can get into this is Improving Gowns, and if you win once, you'll get a ticket, silver ticket to the next round, and then from there, you have to win in order. So if you have a silver ticket, you have to win 2 rounds to get a gold ticket. Then if you win 3 rounds in a row, then you get the infinite ticket, which can only be played on the last week of the season. You're going to get the special fancy border for winning 5 games in a row. I think that's going to be very hard to do. I know in the Proving Grounds, it seems like it's going to be a logical strategy to snap right away. And the first season is going to be starting off on week 2. So it looks like there's going to be a significant amount of rewards, and the boosters looks like you'll be able to collect more than once, but the rest of the rewards you'll only be able to collect once. And if you do 9 of them, then you'll be able to get the Green Goblin card. I think this is a fantastic system for getting extra rewards and doing something extra. And also, I think the very last week of the entire season, where it's in the infinite round, and trying to win 5 in a row is going to be quite an accomplishment. I can't wait to see how this plays out. And it does look like there's significant rewards, which I'm excited to get. and you can play the Proving Grounds over and over and over for free, and there will be boosters awarded for this game mode. I think this is going to be something to do, because I can tell you, for me, after hitting Infinite, it felt like there just wasn't anything to do, especially towards the end of the season. But now I'll be able to work to a place to get as many Infinite tickets as much as you want. It's also worth noting, let's say you're playing in the gold and there's 3 rounds. You can play 1 round, which is the battle mode format, which has 10 health. You can play 1 round, come back like several hours later and play a second round, and that won't be a problem as far as when you can play it. You don't have to play all 3 of the matches in a row. If you win one, then you can come back to later. Overall, I think this is a great addition to the game. Let me know what you think in the comment section. And as always, thanks for watching and keep on gaming. Bye for now.